Okay, stream is live. Good. And, oops. Okay. This is the Techno Buffet podcast, episode number 632, recorded Wednesday, June 7th, 2023, in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Welcome to another exciting episode that hopefully will not have a random audio cutout like last time.
Yep.
So last time, Jerry, we left on this cliffhanger of you saying you would not be available for the next 2 weeks to record this program.
That's true.
And we all, including me, had to wait until now to find out what exciting adventure you're going to be going on.
So my family and I are taking like our first vacation in forever, and we are going to Greece for a couple weeks.
Haven't you taken vacations? You drove to New York, you went south somewhere, and I'm positive
This is for like a day or two.
Yeah.
But
okay, so you're taking your first long vacation in a while.
long family vacation.
Okay. So, take pictures. I want to hear all about your Greek experience.
I will be back on the 23rd if you'd like to record on that Friday.
Yes, Fridays are always hard for me.
Okay.
So it may have to wait till the following week. So we will take a 2-week hiatus, and I'll see what exciting things I can do during that period. Because I had some excitement with one part of my home automation system that has never been useful before.
Really?
Yes.
What's that?
My air quality sensors.
Oh yes, you're near the Canadians, and they're trying to burn their country down.
No, I'm closer to you. I'm going back tomorrow that's why I couldn't record on Thursday. I'm going back to the place where my particulate sensors outside and inside have gone through the roof. So right now, the particulate concentration of PM 2.5, which is the most common one used for air quality indication, it's currently at 390. Micrograms per cubic meter of air? I always get that metric wrong. It has been reported as high as 632 at peak. It normally is somewhere around 20.
Yep.
So that's a lot more. So I don't think I'm going to be having, even though obviously I can't just stay here forever. I was only supposed to be here for a few days. It looks like it will not be as comfortable at home as I would prefer. Now, even in my living room, which has a secondary indoor sensor, that is currently up to 55 micrograms, and it's usually like 2, except when I'm cooking. So, going to be interesting. Because I'm not going to say that I am, have respiratory issues, but I feel like that's not going to help my comfort level. But again, the good thing is my sensors actually came in handy because my air quality has been good. So on a positive or negative note, my air quality is finally bad enough for my sensors to provide useful data. Is that something to be happy about?
That's fun.
Well, again, I had them for a reason, to be able to monitor the quality of the air, and as I said, now I have something to monitor. So anyway, that said, I ordered some additional sensors to replace the ones that were set for replacement, because now having more accurate data is more important. So I have 2 more showing up to replace the ones that just keep crashing, which are the oldest ones. Anyway, so that was the most excitement, other than one other exciting thing that happened today that I haven't watched the video of, but Home Assistant 2023.6 was launched today. Did you watch the launch party?
I didn't, but I read the release notes.
Well, there's some good stuff here, and since normally I would say, okay, this came in today, let's save it for next week, but I figure, why wait 3 weeks to talk about this for a bit? So even though I haven't had a chance to play with it, there's some good stuff in here. For example, they're allowing you to connect and use existing network storage as a media source and other things.
Yep.
That's a nice one. They've overhauled the integrations pages. So now if you have 15 instances of the same integration, it's a little less cluttered.
Which comes in so handy on the ESP Home, where I have a lot of them.
Yeah,
And
same problem here. Now I can just sort of go into settings, go into devices, click on ESP Home, where it says I have 15 devices right now, and it gives me all of those devices.
I like it. I've already upgraded and looked at it and have been quite happy.
Yeah, I also upgraded. I just haven't had time to improve anything yet. I just did the upgrade and made sure it worked. I still have some tweaks. So that's one of those ones where, it doesn't add to your daily usage satisfaction, but it certainly adds when you're the administrator of one of these systems.
Yes, I like it. I'm with all of the likes.
Yep. So they've added in improvements to the light entity. So they created that whole light entity that some people liked, with the little slider and the sort of looks like a Decora switch type shape. And they've been adding a few different improvements, such as the current brightness and favorite color. So instead of the color wheel, it still has the color wheel. In addition to the color wheel, you can have your favorite colors. So if you frequently make your thing look blue, you can have blue as one of the frequent colors. You can just change it back to.
Nice.
They've added back something that they previously took out, which is when was an entity last changed, and if you click it, it goes from relative to absolute time. So I don't have to do math.
Which is super cool.
Yep. The blueprints will now actually show you which automations are using that blueprint, and also prevent you from removing a blueprint that actually has an automation tied to it. You can now copy and paste automations in the automation editor, which I know I would like, because I often have if-then conditions in an automation where I have different if-thens. So being able to copy it and edit it would be very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, they updated to Matter 1.1. I don't have much to say on that, only because I haven't really played with it yet. They did a bunch with Z-Wave, and I still do have my Z-Wave in 2 out of 3 of my Home Assistants instances for my Z-Wave devices. But now they're making some changes. Every device configuration parameter has an entity. So pretty much every Z-Wave setting is now available.
Good.
Yeah, so I was looking at this. I'm not anywhere near my Z-Wave devices, because this is the only location that doesn't have Z-Wave, the one I'm sitting in. But remember how I bought those ring keypads to act as an interface?
Yes.
There are like 100 of these setting entities that I have to look through now, like exit delay timeout in seconds, exit delay timeout in minutes, exit delay timeout in, for me to play with. The generic event sound notification levels So the default for all of these things that I would have had to go into the Z-Wave interface to set, like the ready timeout in seconds, the undefined sound level. I don't know what the undefined sound level is, but it's certainly good to know that I could change it should I need to. No, but a lot of these here, you have the... where is it here? I'm just looking for the right one. You have the event notification 5. Now, I have a list somewhere that somebody posted online of what each notification noise is. So I could sort of rename these to actual names that I'd remember. But they have things like what is the appropriate volume level for the code not being accepted. The timeout for setting armed away. So these are all these things. The alarm for a water leak. So all of the volume controls, of which whatever you can say, there are certainly a lot of them.
Yes.
So I definitely would say if you're interested in something that has 192 different alarm types, certainly worth looking at. If you want to have a little alarm panel that can send notification noises, it's been very useful. But a little more to do on that. I can also reconfigure my smoke detector.
Which may be useful right now.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting, looking at what I have in Z-Wave. I have one thermostat, one smoke detector, one outlet, 4 remote controls, and a keypad. I used to have 2 thermostats. One of them died. So I have a lot more Zigbee devices, and then after that I have a lot more Tasmota and ESP home devices. But again, I like improvements in every area. So beyond that, they've added a new date, time, and date time entity, which are essentially input helpers for integrations where you need to set the time, the date, or both. Nothing's using them yet, but you need to create these entities in order for them to be used. Just being practical. The Android TV remote integration, this is one that I was very excited about, not like jumping for joy, now has a media player entity. And since I'm using a lot of Android TV devices, I like a media player entity.
Oh.
Well, it means I can put a little thing without me having to... Their original suggestion in the integration notes was that I would have to create my own little UI there. I like it if I don't need any of the advanced buttons and I just want to have inside my interface, play, pause, and volume. I can just do that without me having to go and do anything else. Because being able to do that quickly, directly on my computer has its advantages.
Sure.
And again, a lot of other things. They have some new integrations, nothing really exciting per se. YouTube can now be a sensor. I'm not sure.
That's kind of crazy.
Well, I think of it this way. You can have a calendar as a sensor, so maybe you want a sensor that tells you, oh, there's a new episode of... do you have a favorite YouTube program, Trey? Obviously, this one is not your favorite because you're on it, so you wouldn't be watching it. But is there like...
So there's Sure. The Paul Hibbert every Saturday. I love watching Paul Hibbert every Saturday morning.
What does he
I wake up Saturday and I immediately turn on YouTube to watch him.
What does he talk about?
Home automation stuff. He's funny.
Okay. So I'm bad with names. I'll have to look him up. But either way, you can get a notification when there's a new episode, is what I'm gathering here. Because if you actually look at the integration page, it just says how to generate a client ID and secret so that you can set it up. But some of the pages sort of talk about what you might do with the thing or an example.
Right.
This does not have one yet, so I'm guessing that's what you would be able to do if a channel is a sensor. That it would be able to tell you, oh, there's a new episode, or here's the latest episode. So you might find that useful. As usual, the they've added in a few upgrades to certain integrations so they can be set up from the UI. And there's a really long list of breaking changes in various areas, nothing really shocking. And I'm sure if you read the full change log, which sometimes I do and sometimes I don't, because there's always a bunch of things in there, there might be some other things of minor interest, but nothing that they thought was important enough to mention. But every version has its new things.
Yes.
Yep, so I'm excited about making a few amendments to my setup.
Really? What are you going to amend?
Figuring out how I suddenly have 17 tiles when I only actually have 5. I think it's storing the ones that I got rid of when they broke.
Oh.
Well, now that there's a nice number there showing me how many entities I have in each integration, I'm sort of questioning, did I forget to get rid of something that I'm not using anymore or that I replaced or upgraded?
Okay.
And there are a few other things like that. For example, I got rid of my Pixel 6 as a entity for the mobile app. For obvious reasons. I no longer have it. Therefore, I don't want any reference to it. Anyway, moving along, a few other things happened that I was able to locate to talk about. Apparently, if you are an Android Auto user, their latest updates are once again causing connection problems, because why not?
I don't know why it's Android Auto and CarPlay are like super sensitive.
Yeah, I just find it interesting. If you look at the article I found from Android Central, it's swapping cords and clearing cache and alleviate. Somebody found relief through a Motorola MA1 adapter, which, as you may remember, I have in my car.
Yep.
One user found a concrete fix to dive into developer settings to enable something. But I've had some disconnections. I've been using my parents' car while I've been visiting, since they have a car here. And I've had disconnections in their car, which is relatively, I'm not saying it's a new car, but it is not ancient. So I'm not, well, I'd say any car that has Android Auto wouldn't be in the ancient category.
Right.
But again, it's sort of this thing is every time Google does an update, they seem to break something and they don't seem particularly concerned about that.
I'm sure they're super concerned about it.
Okay, they don't seem to be doing the level of testing I would expect from them. And
I'm sure there are a gazillion things there that are hard to test.
I know, as I said, I just expect better sometimes. And I know how hard it is. I have been, in many points in my life when I have been involved in a project, there have been unanticipated consequences that nobody thought of, and when you look at what happened, you sort of say, how did we miss that, or how were we supposed to have figured that out? And that has happened a few times, including recently when a system that I've been involved with, not writing or anything, but a system I've been involved with has apparently had a time zone issue for an unknown period of time that nobody noticed. Where the date is coming in essentially several months of the year due to daylight savings, 1 hour off.
Right.
So the time of creation of certain files, instead of being keyed, which most people do, to UTC, it was keyed somehow to GMT with the daylight savings adjustment.
That's fun.
Yeah, but we don't know how long that's been going on. So, not my problem, except in the sense that I've been using this system a long time and did not notice this. And once we noticed it, now it's sort of hard to not notice. So, I don't blame people for occasionally having these. It seems like Google releases something and there are certain levels of testing that I thought they would have done. But anyway, moving along, if you have a workspace or a cloud account, you can now use passkeys.
And we still haven't established what passkeys are.
I thought we had established what they are. Admittedly, I was never much of an expert on this sort of identity thing. But essentially, it's something that you can install on your device, and you have essentially a custom... In the old days, you would have had something similar to this, but it's the whole... So yeah, as I said, every time I talk about it, I feel like I'm going to say the wrong thing. Because I don't have a really good elevator pitch for it.
I don't either.
Yeah, but ultimately, it's an encrypted blob that lets you log into things instead of a password.
It's only on one device. Where is it?
So you can have a passkey on multiple devices, but each passkey is unique to one device.
Mm-hmm.
So you have you have a passkey which is unique to one device and one identity.
Seems shady.
Well, the advantage of it, if you think about it, is, let's say that you get rid of that device, you can invalidate that version of the authentication. If you go back, this has been done in a lot of different options. Look at app passwords, which were popular for a while. A password that essentially you would use on a device which wouldn't give out your real password, but you can invalidate it at any time. And obviously there's security over using the passkey in the first place, but we're still back to, I like you, I'm still trying to get my brain around this, so I feel embarrassed when I don't get my brain around things. I have to work more on that, but it's been one of those months.
I don't understand.
If it makes you feel better, and good news, I am not going to, it could change, but as of now, I am not going to spend any time this summer working out of a hotel.
That does seem like good news.
Yeah, I thought that might happen. If you remember, I spent 2 weeks in a hotel, and as of now, they do not want me back. They thought they might. That could change, but that means I get to relax for a bit, because 2017, I spent the summer or part of the summer in a hotel. 2018, 2019, I had to do a commute away from home, and 2020, 2020, 2021, and 2022, because we weren't going anywhere, I had to do the exact same thing that I spent the hotel doing, except it was 8-hour days on a single Teams meeting. So, can't say I'm unhappy that I don't have to either spend 8 hours 5 days a week with the same people on a Teams meeting, or I don't have to go to those people for 2 or 3 weeks. That I can sort of have a more relaxing summer. But we'll see what happens next year. Anyway, moving along, there was this nice article from 9 to 5 Google, which says that Wear OS apps have come a long way.
Have they now?
Well, that is the statement of Abner Lee at 9 to 5 Google. I assume it's Lee, L-I. If I'm mispronouncing it, and I assume Abner Lee is not a listener, then I do apologize. But some of the apps have gotten better. I'm not going to say that there aren't things on any system that I might suggest improve, but they definitely have gotten some interest. Now, at the same time, there were some apps that came on very early that were remote control apps for apps on your phone, and they sort of got rid of that idea when they switched over to having more standalone apps on the device.
Okay.
See, I
Do
just find
you
it...
think that they're,
Well, let me ask you a question. Do you want to have a WhatsApp conversation on your watch?
Sure.
A one-way or a two-way WhatsApp conversation?
Both?
So you essentially want to be
I mean,
trying
I'm not saying I'm going to have really long-winded,
No, are you going...
I'm not trying to enter dissertations into my watch.
Well, I'm going
But
to...
the ability to respond, or...
Yeah, I'm going to give you 3 scenarios. Tell me which of these you want to do. Number 1, you get a message on your watch and you use a little tiny keyboard to type in your response. That's number 1. Number 2, you have a message on your watch and Google suggests some simple answers like yes, no, maybe, which they do in other contexts. Or the third option, you can voice dictate to your watch. So you can hold your watch up to your face, Dick Tracy style, assuming anybody remembers who Dick Tracy was. and do it that way. Which of those three things appeal to you?
Depends on the situation. Why not have all three?
Yeah, no, I said you personally.
It depends. I would rather respond with a predetermined response if one is appropriate.
That's the
If
only
not,
one that
and it's short, I'll just type it in. Or if I'm in, a place where there's lots of people around, I'll just type it in. The keyboard on an Apple Watch is actually not bad.
I know. I just don't really want to. I don't really want to try to type on my arm. I'm fine with the sort of pre-canned responses and notifications. That's what I really want the device for. But for everything else, I probably want to whip out the phone. That's me. I also, even though I don't do enough navigation using my watch, I like the idea that Google Maps, that I can keep my phone in my pocket and get the next turn directions if I am having it navigate me on a walking basis. Although I've discovered that when I am navigating while walking using Google Maps, my hardest problem is figuring out which direction they're telling me to go in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not talking about once I start moving. I'm saying if I'm on a stretch of street and it tells me to proceed in one direction, figuring out which direction it's telling me to proceed in. I really feel like there should be a bigger arrow, but because if you look at Google Maps, they show you sort of that it's like a blue thing coming off of your little stick figure, showing which direction you're facing in, but it's not always quite accurate about which direction you think you're facing in. Oh well, that might just be me. But we'll see how much time I spend with it, because I've been playing with the Pine Time. And I am very thrilled that my order of a spare Pine Time charger a month later has finally shipped and been delivered, except for the fact that I'm not there to receive it, so hopefully when I get home it'll be sitting in the mailbox. So I've very much been enjoying the Pine Time, and I also got my Tick watch working again. With the
Congratulations.
Well, no, just, as I said, I get a little annoyed for a device that's supposed to be mostly independent, why it is that every time I change phones I have to do a factory reset on it, and there's no option to transfer. Moving along, Android 13 is now on 15% of active devices. And 11
That's kind
is
of crazy.
11 is still the most common version. Although my recent activities did give me pause about the people at Samsung. So I think I mentioned that I had acquired a refurbished Samsung tablet so that I could use it, because my Lenovo tablet that isn't that much older than this refurbished Samsung tablet, they'd stopped updating it and suddenly applications weren't working.
Yeah.
So when I loaded this thing up, it was on Android 11. I spent like 2 hours letting it do update after update, and it's now on 13. So I want to give Samsung credit for actually updating their devices, which makes me think in the future I might give them more money.
Cool.
Also, I want to not give them credit for their user interface, but I want to at least say it's very easy to cover up their user interface using alternative launchers. So we're back to the why would you want an alternative launcher if the people at Samsung skin your phone in a way you don't like? Or in this case, skin your tablet. Anyway, hopefully soon we'll get more people off of 11 into 12 and 13, and very soon 14 is coming.
Excellent.
If you're a user of Google Wallet, it seems like all the stories going down my show notes are from 9 to 5 Google so far. Just a coincidence, but... Google announced an expansion to Wallet to allow people to manually add in any barcode or QR code, IDs in new states, and more. So you'll be able to put your driver's license into Google Wallet, which is Maryland, Arizona, Colorado, and Georgia. So Maryland's today, and they'll be putting in Arizona, Colorado, and Georgia soon.
That's crazy talk.
They're going to add support for corporate badges, and in Germany, they're adding support for Deutschland Ticket Local Public Transit. Now, the nice one is sort of this, you're able to store any QR code or barcode in your wallet, because I could definitely think of circumstances where that would be helpful. And Google doesn't necessarily need to know what the barcode is for, as long as I know what the barcode is for. And they're also doing health insurance information. So I sort of like this, as I said. I don't always want to carry around, one, I don't want to fumble around for a barcode in an email, or I don't want to print it out on a piece of paper. And I always get a kick out of the people at the airport. Have you ever watched a gate agent at an airport try to get people to use their phone with the barcode and scan it so they can board the plane?
I've seen it happen. I don't believe I recall ever seeing a problem.
Really? You're lucky. I'm a people watcher. I sort of like watching people, as the name implies. So I sort of look around and see what's going on. And I see a lot of frustration from these gate agents because what happens, they're yelling there, put your phone to full brightness because the scanner needs it so they can read it. You have people who can't figure out how to wave their phone over the scanner, and you have the gate agent grabbing the phone from them and waving it.
How does that work out?
They seem very frustrated sometimes, and considering I assume that happens every time they're boarding a flight, I can understand why they're a bit annoyed. I tried to cheer them up. One of the recent times that I flew, I had to get my boarding pass printed at the counter because the online system wouldn't check me in, which was happening for a while, and JetBlue updated their app, and suddenly it didn't work at all. And then I cleared the cache for the app, logged back in, and discovered that maybe had I cleared the cache a while ago, I probably could have avoided all of that annoyance. But I tried to cheer up the gate agent by telling them that I had turned up the brightness on my paper to maximum. It didn't.
Did they laugh?
No, I was hoping for to cheer them up because they seemed frustrated, but no, that did not cheer them up.
How disappointing.
Occasionally I can cheer up people in various jobs in which I am engaging with them on a service level, but not always. I try to be a good customer.
Yeah. I understand.
Yeah. And let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, yes. There's an article from XDA developers about how Android security has improved by leaps and bounds over the last 10 years, so it's sort of a think piece, so to speak. And I thought it was interesting to sort of go through fragmentation, improvements to Google, and I thought it was a very good article. Malware. So I'm not going to read it all, but I am going to say if anybody's interested, they should certainly read the article.
Yeah, they're getting expensive.
Moving along, if you are a Verizon customer, I've sort of branched out lately talking a little about streaming. But apparently Verizon now has a bundle where you might be able to get Netflix Premium, Paramount Plus, and Showtime for like $10.99. And since I mentioned that I have a bundle that I arranged through my family because it ended up being not much more than what they were paying, and it was cheaper than me buying any of those services, I thought I would mention that apparently there's some sort of promotion because you can't get the one that they got because they discontinued it, and probably they'll force them off of it at some point.
I guess that might increase Paramount's numbers.
Well, Strange New World starts next Thursday. I know you won't be watching it because you'll be abroad.
Yes.
I don't know if you can get Paramount Plus in Greece. But I'm also assuming that you'll be doing things other than watching Paramount Plus.
One hopes.
It'll still be there when you get back.
One hopes.
You're telling me that you think the entirety of a new season of Star Trek Strange New Worlds will not be available when you return? Or you're thinking
I hope it is.
Or you're thinking that you're going to love Greece so much that you're going to move there?
That is unlikely.
I suppose. Moving along, apparently Reddit has joined the Twitter bandwagon of pricing third-party apps out of existence. And there is going to be a protest, apparently.
Yeah, I think I've already seen some of this protesting.
Yeah.
Where some of the subreddits just go turn themselves to be private.
Yeah, so essentially it's... If you look at the numbers, based on their requests, just to run one app, which in this article the example is Apollo, it made 7 billion requests last month, which would put it at $1.7 million per month or $20 million per year.
For a free app.
Yeah, no, they have subscription users.
I use Apollo and it's free to me.
Yeah, but they do have a subscription program as well. So if the developer of the app said if they only kept the people who currently paid, with the so essentially the number of users who are currently contributing money, the average user uses 344 requests per day, which would cost $2.50 a month, which is double what the subscription costs. So I'm guessing that means Apollo has a $1.25 a month subscription option. And again, you might know better than I do because it's an iOS app, but the point is that isn't exactly reasonable.
Well,
on the other hand, we're back to if you build your business on the top of somebody else's business, that person can put you out of business.
Yeah.
But to be fair, we're still back to these companies encourage people to build on top of them and then pull the rug out from under them, which is what I sort of object to.
I think Reddit is realizing that they're going to have to charge people to reduce their usage, or
reduce is a little different.
API calls cost money.
Yes.
So
no, it's not necessarily about the costing of money. It's about how much money. When you realize what the relationship is. And again, there should be some way to solve this problem. Reddit deserves money, but these developers who, again, were encouraged to build on their platform, there should be some way of working it out so that everybody gets what is fair. Moving along, there are new features. Gotta love those. So this is, again, the June Android feature drop, which I haven't gotten. So 3 new widgets for Google TV, Finance, and Google News. Wear OS improvements from Spotify, Wallet, and Keep. So apparently Spotify will let you play right from your wrist to let the Spotify DJ deliver personalized tunes. Woohoo.
Yep, woohoo.
Yeah.
Concur.
That's a woohoo. And of course, Google Wallet is adding support for DC and San Francisco's commuting cards. And of course, Google Keep is getting a tile for a to-do list or a note. Apparently there are some aquatic emojis coming. I don't know what to do about that. New readers can do something called reading practice. And more people can get a dark web report. Can I get another woohoo?
I mean, everybody needs a dark web report.
I think so.
Yep.
And in one final story that I found, apparently the chief executive of Raspberry Pi, that's Eben Upton, said that there will be a 1 million unit stock of Pi products available in the month of July and every month onward until the consumer backlogs are cleared.
Cool.
So the issue has been, as you know, that there's been some supply issues, and a lot of the Pis were gathered by commercial entities as opposed to consumer ones.
Right.
So corporate. So apparently they have figured out, one, they said, if you remember, we reported before that they were going to reserve a certain percentage of the stock for the consumer market, recognizing that them not doing so has created a problem. But they've also been trying to recover from the supply issue. So Sony has been stockpiling the non-silicon elements of the Raspberry Pi. And they own a minority stake in the corporate side of Raspberry Pi. So there's the nonprofit and the corporate. So Raspberry Pi now has an 11-year manufacturing contract with Sony. And they manufacture every core Raspberry Pi product.
Cool.
Yeah. And hopefully we won't be in a position where you are ending up with $100 cost for a item that used to cost $40.
Yep. And make it easier to actually find.
Yeah, well, again, it was this sort of problem where even Upton admitted that he didn't make sure that there was enough supply for hobbyists.
Yep.
That the businesses cornered the market when they had a stock issue. They fell behind, and it's taken them this long to solve the problem.
And Raspberry Pis are still over $100 on Amazon.
Yeah, he said in July this is going to be fixed. But again, there are other companies that have been able to create alternative products, and that may have hurt Pi, but people still like the Raspberry Pi. Except me.
Good. I am going to need myself a Raspberry Pi soon.
Well, as you know, I like the Raspberry Pi in theory. My biggest problem has been the SD card. The only thing I would want, I don't need anything from a Raspberry Pi 5, except to make it so that there's an option for me to put some more reliable storage space on there. Get me a way to put it. I don't need you to include the eMMC option. Put the socket on there. I'll pay for the socket. I'll go buy my own chip. But using a micro SD card, it means that the thing is inherently fragile. And that keeps biting me every time I use a Pi. So I'm sort of reluctant to let you go, Jerry, because I will not see you for many weeks. Do you have any final thoughts to tide all of us over until the ultimate Jerry return?
Sure. Kilo, Quebec, 4, India, Zulu, Romeo.
Should I ask?
That is my amateur radio call sign.
I guessed.
Yep.
So I assume you will not be amateur radioing while you are abroad.
No.
So your station will be dark.
Yes. I will not go. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but...
Well, it's fun. It's like many things in this world where sometimes you don't do it for a productive purpose. You do it because it amuses you.
Right, and I think the name amateur indicates that you can't do it for a productive purpose.
Not necessarily. Remember, amateur radio operators have been very useful in disasters and helping relay information.
RACES is the name of that service.
But it's still amateur radio operators who are doing it.
Yeah. You just can't do it for profit, for business.
Do you want to?
Not particularly.
Okay. So, other than that, how are you getting to Greece? Are you... I'm guessing that there's no nonstop Jacksonville Athens flight.
No. We are flying.
Yeah, Yes, I said I'm just assuming there's no nonstop flight from Jacksonville to Athens.
I don't actually know where our...
Enjoy yourself. Hopefully it is a nice flight.
let's see, we are actually flying from Orlando.
That makes more sense. They have more international flights.
Yep. We are flying from Orlando to JFK and then straight to Athens.
Delta?
Yes.
Okay. I can usually guess. I don't know why. Maybe it's the fact that I have all those flight tracking things that I built so that I could get free FlightAware service. Anyway.
2.5 hour layover.
Okay, well, you're in Terminal 4 Kennedy. That's not bad. Nice building. Anyway, enjoy your trip. I look forward to hearing how relaxed and happy you are when you get back. And I will be here. It'll be me and the Canadian Fires.
All right, man.
Until next time.
Be careful. Wear a mask if you feel it's helpful.
I have plenty of them. And people were saying I would never use them up. See, the world has produced yet another reason for me to have bought a surplus. Maybe I shouldn't have taken advantage of that Costco mask package.
Maybe.
Well, it seemed like a good deal at the time, and as far as I know, they don't expire. Maybe the elastic gets a little... Anyway, until next time.
Till next time. Bye, folks.
Goodbye.